Hello everyone, let's talk about cells. So what cells are we talking about? Rod cells. So what are rod cells? Rod cells are basically specialized cells that are found in the eyes. And where are they found in the eyes? Well then they are found at the back of the eyes, at the retinas, and more specifically, they're found in the peripheral region of the retinas. Anyways, rod cells are photoreceptors, and what photoreceptors do is that they capture light and then they would convert the light into an electrical signal, and then they would send the information into the brain so that we can see the world around us and we can perceive the world around us. Anyways, unlike cone cells, rod cells do not detect color, so there is no color vision. Now, as we can see here in the rod cells, that's the structure, and the structure can be divided into four main pillars. Firstly, we have the outer segment. Next, we have the inner segment. Then we have the soma, which is the cell body. And lastly, we have the synaptic region. So, as for the outer segment, if we were to look at here, we can see here there's a bunch of discs, and these discs are basically membranes. And on these membranes, there's something called rhodopsin. Rhodopsin is basically a protein that will help us in the phototransduction cascade. I will be explaining that later on. Now next, we can look at the next structure, which is the inner segment. If we can see here, the inner segment, it contains a lot of mitochondria. Now next, we have the soma, which is the cell body. This basically contains the nucleus. And lastly, we have the synaptic region. This region basically connects to other cells. Now let's look at the function of these rod cells. So first of all, rod cells help us see in low lighting conditions, and this basically gives us black and white vision. And also, the phototransduction cascade. I know you've been all waiting for it. So, the rod cells help with the phototransduction cascade, and this is basically when the light is converted into an electrical signal and into the brain. So, I have personally illustrated a picture so that you guys can understand what it is. So here we can see it is a rod cell, and usually it is turned on. But then if the light were to hit it, then it will be able to turn off, which will then activate the bipolar cell, which will then activate another cell called the ganglion cell. And then it will connect to the optic nerve, which will send information to our brains. Okay, you might be thinking, hey, that must be a lot of work. Well, it is, because the phototransduction cascade needs a lot of energy. That is why the most abundant cell organelle is the mitochondria. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.